Humanity lived under the profound illusion that our planet was an unyielding whole until that moment. A relentless 12-hour seismic event prepared scientists for a terrifying conclusion. The Earth's core was fracturing. The rupture began in the Pacific, a fissure hundreds of kilometers long, slicing through the surface. This was no ordinary tectonic shift. This was the moment the planet itself began to tear apart irrevocably. The coastlines were the first victims. Massive mega tsunami waves crashed down, wiping humanity's grandest cities from the map. Chaos descended upon civilization like a nightmare, without warning. As the fault line reached the land masses, volcanic eruptions consumed the sky. The atmosphere quickly became poisoned with sulfur dioxide and ash. The sun, once life-giving, was now merely a faint glow visible through the soot. As the fracture grew, two separate gravitational centers began to form. First signs, objects strangely suspended in mid-air. Then uncontrolled drops and gravitational anomalies shattered all familiar laws of physics.
Zone readings. It's spiking globally. This is unprecedented.
And finally, the main crack reached the very center of the planet, the molten core. The Earth had separated into two distinct massive spherical fragments. From that moment on, there was no longer a single Earth. Two worlds were born. Areas near the fault line became uninhabitable. Billions of people moved in panic toward the inner regions, hoping for safety. The Great Migration shattered all logistics and order of civilization. Submarine communication cables, satellite networks. Global communication was instantly severed. The flow of information ceased, where every surviving community became an isolated island in the dark. From the edges of the fault line facing outer space, the atmosphere began to leak. The ozone layer was breached. The new boundary, where radiation seeped in, was now the vacuum of space. The planet was stopping its breath. The separate gravitational forces and chaotic air currents of the two hemispheres generated storms never before witnessed, super hurricanes and uncontrollable climate events lasting weeks made life impossible.
We're showing a 40% deviation in the rotation metrics. This system is becoming unstable.
The remaining scientific community struggled desperately to comprehend this unprecedented event. With the fracturing of the world, even centuries of established laws of physics became null and void. Freshwater resources rapidly dwindled. The fight for survival descended into conflicts between neighbors. Even the most basic rules of civilization vanished. Now there was only one rule: you must survive first. In the chasm between the two worlds, a boiling threat was visible to the naked eye. Earth's molten outer core, generating magnetic fields. It was deadly hot, magnificent.
This is our moment to
utterly
rise from the
unstable.
ashes. We will not just survive, we will thrive. We do this together.
Instead of one powerful magnetic field, two weak and erratic fields emerged. This terrifyingly increased the levels of cosmic radiation on the surface. Shielding became the most vital condition for existence.
The gravity shear is increasing too rapidly. We're showing a 40% deviation in the rotation metrics. This system is becoming unstable.
The hemispheres wobbled in orbit, constantly threatening collision. Scientists attempted to stabilize these unbalanced masses with enormous thrusters. Preventing the two pieces from reuniting became the sole mission. Not just the environment, but the human spirit was also fractured. The trauma experienced by the generation whose planet split led to a new societal malaise. Trust and belief in the future were completely lost. The biological diversity of Earth was largely erased by the catastrophe. The remaining species had to adapt to extreme conditions or perish. Nature's struggle was as fierce as humanity's. Right near the edge of the fault line, people retreated into massive, deep caves and underground cities. The surface had become too dangerous for life due to radiation and erratic gravity. Remaining fossil fuel reserves were more valuable than the rarest metal. Bloody raids were organized between powerful groups for vital energy sources. War was fought not just for survival, but for fuel. When surface farming became nearly impossible, closed-loop vertical farms were the only solution. Light and water were meticulously controlled in these structures, which became our new life sources. A new energy source was discovered, exploiting the energy void created by the fracture. Electromagnetic generators utilized the potential between the two hemispheres to keep us alive. Travel between the two hemispheres was the riskiest undertaking. Specially designed, magnetically shielded vessels had to cross the terrifying chasm between the two giants. Every journey was a life or death fight. The remaining nations used gigantic laser signals to communicate with each other. Though distant and isolated, coordination was a necessity for collective survival. The new generation of children accepted seeing two crescents in the sky as normal. For them, a fractured world was an innate, painful reality. Reversing the break was a fantasy. A geological process spanning billions of years had ended in minutes. This was a new and permanent universe to which humanity was forced to adapt. The two hemispheres have yet to settle into a stable orbit. At any moment, a slight magnetic fluctuation could trigger a colossal disaster. The action hasn't stopped. The threat continues every second. Humanity's mission in this new, fragmented world is not merely to survive. It is to rebalance these two giants. Our struggle against the unknown continues. In the split Earth, the fight for survival is far from over.